We have here that week 15, 2024, late window game thoughts. I did the in Sunday Night Football. I did the early window. I'm gonna do late window. We have Tampa Bay. They blew out the LA Chargers 40-17 in just the second half. Just became a dominant win in the second half for the Tampa Bay. LA Chargers didn't really show nothing in that second half. And yeah, and you can see it was the first quarter pretty solid. Looked like in the second quarter looked like it was going to be a game that's back and forth both teams. But then that third quarter, the Tampa Bay got the touchdown, then the field goal, and another touchdown, and then you had 3 touchdowns in that. Or 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. I was going to say 3 in the second half. You know, it was a solid game. I mean, both teams had interception. But the real difference was the rushing. Irving was able to get 117 yards rushing on 15 carries, 15 runs, and Edwards was able to only get 8 for 23. That's what really impacted the game, is that running. But then they were in a spot where they must throw it, kind of. They just couldn't really get any offense going in that second half. It's really hurt them. Denver gets the win over Indianapolis. And Indianapolis still has a little bit of hope because of the LA Chargers losing. However, they could not make they probably won't make the playoffs, but they still have a little bit of hope. Indianapolis does. They have a matchup against Tennessee and my Giants, and I mean they do have some hope, a little bit of hope, but do I see them winning games, making the playoffs? No. But Denver, it was kind of like a low-scoring game in that first half. Or for Denver, it was 7-0, then it was 10-0, 10-7, 13-7. Then the third quarter was 13-10. And you thought, wow, it's going to be maybe a sloppy game. Maybe Denver wins that sloppy game, or maybe Indianapolis wins. Richardson had 17-30, 170 yards, 2 receptions. But that's kind of who he is. He's been working through stuff, but he has kind of like a low completion percentage, but he does win games. But in the Knicks, he had 3,300 yards, 3 touchdowns, had 3 interceptions. So he did not look that great, but he had a touchdown pass, and there was a fumble return, but it was like a lateral play, and it was intercepted. The lateral was intercepted in return, but it does count as a fumble recovery technically. And because a backwards pass is considered a fumble. And you got 20-yard touchdown pass. Cortland Sutton from 20-yard key pass from Bo Nix. That made the win. It was a good game for Denver to come back and prove that in the fourth quarter that they were actually a good team. It was kind of like a loss. Some of those games get a little sloppy. You have to win ugly and win sloppy, and that's what they did. They won sloppy. And then we have the Arizona Cardinals defeating the New England Patriots 30-17. A nice win for Arizona. Here, Key Murray had 23, 32, and 24. May had 19 out of 23. 200 yards, a touchdown, interception. Jay Conner had 16 runs, 16 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. In the first quarter looked pretty solid. Arizona came out to 10-0 lead. But then there was a couple of field goals late in the second quarter. Then the third quarter, kicked a field goal. But then the fourth, and again, both teams got a couple touchdowns, and so did and then got a couple touchdowns late. But then Arizona got one to counter. New England's touchdown. New England was trying to make things interesting, but Arizona won that game and played solid. Played a solid game. And it's like that's for now. Arizona has a chance to be in the playoff hunt. They're still in the playoff hunt. A couple games back of wild card, but they're a game back in the division. But depends on how Seattle did. Seattle won. They would be 2 back in the division and in the wild card. Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills ended up being the Detroit Lions, 48-42. This one, and first quarter's all Buffalo, and the second quarter ended up being a little bit of Detroit ended up coming back, making it 21-14. Then in that third quarter, 2 touchdowns for Buffalo, 1 for Detroit. Then it was 12 minutes, it was 38-28. But then what cost Detroit was Dan Campbell is very aggressive as a head coach. He is very, very aggressive. And what happened when they decided to go for the onside kick. And I'm like, why would they go for the onside kick? Maybe maybe something like you fake like you can't do surprise onside kick no more. You have to declare it. You have to so the other team knows that you're doing it. Maybe they take a timeout and they resend it. Maybe okay, no, okay, maybe they just fake them out. But they didn't end up getting the onside kick. But then they end up scoring the touchdown 9 seconds later. But they could have just maybe stopped them on defense, got the ball back, and not have to give a touchdown. But they didn't. They ended up giving up a touchdown, and then just made it 17. I was like, why would you do that? But that's what really cost them this game. If Detroit didn't go for if Dan Campbell didn't decide to be ultra aggressive, go for the onside kick with 12 minutes to go in the fourth, that game would have been a lot closer. And Detroit could have won that game and been 13-1 in the 13-1. The Pittsburgh Steelers, despite losing, they clinched a playoff spot with a loss to Philadelphia. That is because Indianapolis, Miami, and Cincinnati are all 6-8 in the wild card, so they cannot, or in the hunt, so they cannot fall out of the wild card standings. Or and they have the division lead, but they couldn't make the division lead too. The 2 games remaining, as they have a game on Saturday against. They have a game on Saturday against Baltimore, and that's basically for the division. They beat. That would be for the division too, because they beat Pittsburgh. They beat Baltimore one time in Pittsburgh. They have to beat Baltimore in. They have to win near Baltimore, Maryland. They have to win that 1 year. So that's going to be an interesting game. Can they do it on Saturday on Fox at 4:30 Eastern? Can they do it? We'll see. And they have to play a tough Kansas City team. We'll see. So they're fighting for the playoff. Win or Baltimore would win the wild card. Would win them out. The division spot. So it all depends on that, if they can clinch playoffs. If not, then it would come down to division record and stuff like that, and other tiebreakers like that. Then we have the Green Bay Packers. They end up beating the Seattle Seahawks 30-13. Green Bay does. That was a nice win for Green Bay. I mean, I don't want to say because I'm a Minnesota fan, but you have to give them credit though for this win. But you kind of knew it though, going into when Geno Smith got hurt. He got hit like low. It was not a legal hit because both feet were up in the air, but it was a really low hit on like the ankle and contact. Like he got hit with the basically with the helmet near the ankle, and then he kind of had like trying to go through it, but he couldn't. He was just hurting in pain like so bad. You kind of feel for it, that because it looked pretty horrible injury. And if he can go for the next game and wins the next game, it's against Minnesota on Sunday. So next Sunday at 4:05 Eastern. So if they can go on that one, I mean, if Geno Smith can go for that one, I mean, Sam Howell is the backup quarterback. I mean, he did have a little promise, but it was just the problem of it was he can call off the bench, and then he ended up off that fumble. The defense, he ended up getting the touchdown, which did help build some momentum. It's just that he just kind of cold, not getting any reps with like the starters. So if Geno Smith's okay to play, and he'll play. But if Sam Howell can get some reps with starters, maybe he can do a little something, you know. Because he did show a little promise, though. In the game, though, he did show a little bit of a promise, though. Not a ton, but he did show some. So that was a good, though. But I mean, the offense did show some promise, though, so they can keep doing what they did. You know, when they had promise, at least in the fourth quarter, a little bit of promise there. If they can do that, then he can get some reps. You know, if he has to. Obviously, I'd like Geno Smith to come back, but if he can't, that's all Sam Howell for sale. Is their season over? Maybe playoff hopes or maybe not. I mean, it depends on what the other team, what LA Rams do. It might be done, but they might not be. That we have. And we had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter by Green Bay. Green Bay was all over, and it was the second quarter 2 field goals. They're lucky. Seattle was lucky. And then Seattle kicked the field goal. And that was the drive Sam Howell came in. And then for Geno Smith. And then Brandon McManus kicked 23. Yeah, but then there was a fumble recovery, and that was a touchdown. But then they end up kicking it instead of going for it. Forced kind of deeper in their own territory. And they should have. But then they punted the football, and they gave up a touchdown. That's what they couldn't afford. I mean, if they didn't get it, you didn't get it, but you at least try for it. And then that kind of hurt the momentum. And yeah, so Seattle needs but I mean they need Geno Smith doesn't come back for a little bit. It might be LA Rams division to lose. Arizona, they play NY Jets, and they play Arizona, and they play Seattle. And Arizona does have a little bit of a. They play Carolina, LA Rams, and San Francisco. So Arizona it could be Arizona, LA Rams. That could clinch the division. Arizona, LA Rams, one of those 2 teams could clinch the division. So we'll see in that one. But it all depends on Geno Smith is back. So can he come back? Because if he doesn't come back against Minnesota, Sam Howell to play against Minnesota, the Minnesota Vikings for 6. Ooh, I don't know about that one. Maybe if he gets a little practice and shows some promise. Maybe a little promise. Maybe. Oh, it's going to be tough for them. I would just say that. Then we got 2 Monday Night Footballs. Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings tomorrow at Eastern on ABC. That's the game on ABC and ESPN Plus. And the game on ESPN and ESPN Deportes is the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. And that is the secondary Monday night game on ESPN. I thought they might take that one out and bring in maybe Miami and Houston in that one. I thought, and then put the Atlanta and Las Vegas on Monday night, but they didn't. And they didn't put or I would have thought maybe Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, or Pittsburgh at Philadelphia, I should say. But that didn't happen either because Bucks probably protect that game, I would imagine. They couldn't do Tampa Bay LA Chargers because LA Chargers play Thursday night and they don't do 2 days off. They always like to have it, so it's 3 days, no playing before you play your next game. And that's why the 4 teams are playing on Christmas. They are playing each other on Saturday. And they kind of did that schedule court. So they play each other. They play a different opponent in the 2 weeks of the 4. They do. You play one of the 2 teams that you haven't played yet. That's because of the fact that, because obviously, and obviously they can't play the same team when they're on divisional teams. I mean, they could have had a divisional matchup then, but they didn't though. So it's going to be interesting, to see who can clinch the playoffs, who can clinch other spots. It's going to be interesting, especially see how is it LA Rams to lose or is it Arizona's to lose, like Arizona LA Rams. I mean, maybe theirs to lose then. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll see what happens. But things are interesting here in the NFC, in the playoffs, especially in the NFC, where the Detroit Lions, they lost their second game of the season. And I mean, they played well on offense. So just their defense kind of hurt them a little bit. But both teams' offenses weren't that great though. But Dan Campbell was too aggressive on one for the onside kick on fourth in the fourth. With 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So we'll see though if that. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. Or in the next week, can LA Chargers, can they lock up a playoff spot with a win? Or be closer to locking up one, essentially. Or can Indianapolis, Miami, Cincinnati, with a win, can they have more hope? So it's going to be interesting. See how things shape up, but can Pittsburgh, clinch a division title, or it's Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh and Baltimore. They be fighting for the division with 2 games still, and 1 division tiebreakers. We'll see. It's all going to be interesting, what goes on in the playoff picture. But I'll update you on the playoff picture. How I'm going to do it. Updates on their new team clinching spots, or clinch divisions, clinch spots, teams eliminated, all of that. Because with a few games to go in the season, you do have those scenarios. So going on, and I will mention also week 16. I will mention the announcers on Tuesday and the TV map on Wednesday for the games. On Sunday, I will do that as well. For the games in your area, and maybe the announcers, if they know who's the special announcers for the Saturday game. It's probably going to be the the game the announcers called Big Ten football, which is I believe it's No Eagle, Todd Blackridge. So it's gonna be them too. So then it could be Steelers Ravens, it could be Tom Brady and Ken Brooker, or it's gonna be Joe Davis, Greg Olsen. But I would think probably we'll do Tom Brady, Ken Brooker on Steelers Ravens, and Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and then Sunday their feature match is gonna be Philadelphia and Washington, and they'll put it on Philadelphia, Washington. And their feature Joe Davis, Greg Olsen. They'll do that probably. I would assume so. Because, I would just assume so. But you never know what they were doing. It could be either or and either one. I wouldn't be surprised. But I would just say maybe put that Joe Davis, Greg Olsen, Philadelphia, and Washington. Just because, there's going to be a little. There's going to be, like the game, other games are around there. There's going to be just a tad of, like here, like these teams, there's not going to be much, you're not going to get much, like you're still going to have like majority of the country see Philadelphia, Washington, but not everyone sees Philadelphia, Washington. So maybe I could see Joe Davis, Greg Olsen being on that one, just because of that. Yeah. But you'll have the bare minimum on Cleveland, Cincinnati. Same with Arizona, Carolina. Same with probably Detroit, Chicago. Same with probably in all these games. Most of the games are pretty predictable who's going to be the featured game. It's probably going to be New England at Buffalo. It's going to be New England at Buffalo in the early window. Although the NFC teams, some teams in the NFC window, or in the NFC West view market, like Arizona, Washington, like LA area, obviously. Then you have San Francisco area. They might be seeing LA Rams and NY Jets because of that. Like other teams in that viewing area, maybe like Washington. Or maybe you see like people in like Green Bay or in Minnesota or something. Maybe NFC. You might see that a little bit more, but we'll see though.